What's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first discussion topic video for this week, coming off of the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 15, Try. In this one, we're going to be focusing on, spoiler warning, Michonne's decision to basically knock out Rick. Okay, yeah, so spoiler warning, I hope you guys have seen the episode by now. I kind of expect everybody with the channel. I mean, I have some viewers in the UK and stuff, but you guys can watch it streaming online anyway. So, I expect everybody who's subscribed to be watching the episodes as we go through for the most part. I try not to spoil things, but, I got to be able to make videos at the same time too and use thumbnails and do stuff. So I try to keep the spoilers at a minimum, especially when it comes to deaths. But with actual just plot points and stuff, I have to do what I have to do to make videos for you guys that do watch it. So this one, first one for the week, really want to start off with this one. Send me your guys' Q&A questions that you have. Send me any video suggestions that you have. That way I can do them for the rest of the week. Also going to do a death predictions for the finale, of course. And because we did the main predictions video, did the review, did the top 5. So Q&As for the rest of the week. Any video suggestions you guys have. And the DP video. So in this one today, we're going to focus on Michonne's decision and just kind of be able to just totally focus on that in a video, because the review was about 20 minutes and I didn't want to go on forever about it because it's a really weird kind of it's not mutiny, but it's pretty complex in terms of her decision to do what she did to Rick. Now, I had said in the review, and I may be mistaken with this, that she hits Rick with a rock or a brick or something in order to knock him out. But from watching it again, and rewinding it and watching it a few times, I actually don't see one in her hand. So it's possible she just punches him, if that's what it's supposed to mean. In the comic book series, she hits him with a big rock, and that's what does it. So in the TV series version, that may not necessarily be the case. She may have just punched him super hard. That to say, if someone didn't see Michonne coming up beside them and she blasted him with those shoulders, she's got some pretty big shoulders from swinging that sword for years on end. So she could knock out a guy. She could knock Rick out if he didn't see it coming, and she blasted him with a right hook or a right cross right in the right area, and shook the nervous system, and boom, he went out. So it could happen. So I'm not sure about that. Not 100% clear, but it may have just been a punch. Either way, it doesn't really matter. She knocked him out. She attacked him viciously, and, with us not seeing it either, they zoom in on his face, so you see the top part of his face, and you just see her come across and just blast him, either with her hand or with a rock or with something. Then take his gun. Right out of the Walking Dead comic book series. In the comic book series, though, she says, get his gun. And it kind of zooms in on her, so to speak, like a splash page type deal. So my thoughts on this. So, this was a weird one. And if you watch it again, it's really cool how you can see that as this is happening, when Rick pulls out the gun and stuff, Glenn looks to his right at Nicholas and Tobin as he starts to consider that he's loyal to Rick. So he starts to see this more as a possible opportunity for them to take over, basically. In a coup, basically, to totally, Game of Thrones style, take over power, right? But that said, he's not Cersei. He doesn't have all these things planned out, and it kind of happened out of nowhere, and he felt threatened by all these others coming at him, and he felt like he was in charge, so he pulls out the hidden gun that he had. Right. Then, of course, you had Carol there as well, too. But basically, the situation was that the Alexandria people had more people there, so that if it was a fist fight type scenario, Rick and the others were too far outnumbered. They wouldn't have been able to take all of them on. And also, you have to view Michonne and some of the others as not necessarily wanting to turn this into an all-out war, between the survivors that are now part of the Alexandria Safe Zone group and the rest of the Alexandria Safe Zone. Even if Rick's group wins, what are they going to do? Are they going to exile everybody else who's, some of the more weaker survivors and stuff? How is that going to go? I also like, before the fight starts or before Rick goes back in the house, he kind of looks around and he sees people just living. He sees like elderly couple, they're like smiling and talking to this lady, and then you see kids running and stuff, one with a dog, another with stupid balloons. We may talk about the balloons in the Q&A. People keep asking, like, what's with the red balloons? I don't know. I don't know the balloon thing. 99 red balloons. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the balloons. So I'll watch it again and we'll talk about that in the Q&A. But yeah, so she makes the choice. They wouldn't have been able, without Rick firing the gun and laying out a few people, they would not have been able to take over the Alexandria safe zone at that moment, I don't think, without him just going full on postal and just shooting down, shooting Tobin, shooting down Nicholas, shooting Deanna, shooting Reg, just annihilating everybody, one shot each or something. And then they could have actually, full on taken it over. But how would Jesse feel about that if he did that? How would the rest, because there's so many people in Alexandria, even the ones that are not strong, would they still live under somebody who did that, or would Rick kick them out, or how would that go? It would just lead to an undesirable outcome, right? One way or another, no matter how it shakes down. That said, Michonne chooses to basically step in against the survivors. So she steps in against it. Now, you could say from her perspective that she sees herself as helping Rick at that moment. She stops him from doing something that he may regret greatly. If he kills somebody, if he shoots Deanna, or he shoots somebody else like that, he may be kicked out, or it may turn bloody. He may be sentenced to death if they lose, or who knows how that would shake down. So Michonne could probably see it as he's too far gone, he was out there too long, as they were talking about prior, and that she was actually helping him by stopping him from doing something that he might regret. Also, she, of course, is the other constable or police officer appointed at that job to keep the peace in that area by Deanna. So, Rick doesn't see it as the survivors have now joined this group, and Glenn kind of follows in suit with that. But Michonne wasn't involved with that conversation. She wasn't there for that. So she kind of sees it as they are totally, part, and Deanna is the leader now, right? Not Rick, even though Rick has gotten this far and everything. And it brings on a lot of interesting questions. Is she still loyal to Rick? Did she do that because she thought she was helping him? What is the case here? I would say, upon interpretation, not after first seeing it, because it certainly doesn't look like she's helping him, right? But it seems like to me, she could have gone other ways about it. She could have gotten in front of him with the gun and told him to stop and calm down and everything, and we can talk this out or whatever, and settled him. But she didn't. She instead chose to knock him out with brutal force, right? So it did feel like, it kind of made her feel like a traitor, right, is what it is. And I think that's how most of viewers are feeling right now. That's how I felt. It was weird because she's one of my favorite female characters in the entire. She's one of my favorite characters in the whole series. Not just female. She's just one of my favorite characters, right, in the whole show. But in one scene, she goes from like one of my favorites to one of my most hated, in about 4 seconds. Just because, that was a trying moment where it was kind of a struggle for power, so to speak, to see who's loyal to who and how things would go. And Rick probably thought that, these people are so weak. He kind of underestimated them, underestimated Deanna's, kind of influence on the people on his crew, and he actually lost somebody from the survivors who showed that they are actually faithful to Alexandria and those people, even if Michonne in her mind thought she was doing the best thing she could do for Rick. So it was a weird behavior to see her do that. It's straight out of the Walking Dead comic book series, so for some people who've read the comic book series, it may feel natural that she would, because you already kind of knew she was going to. But I did think it was a really weird kind of moment for her to do that. It was a weird decision for her to make. And, it was strange. But she also had seen Sasha on the outside. And she kind of seen what kind of state they were in after Noah had died. And she may have attributed Rick's behavior similar to Sasha's behavior, and felt like she needed to stop him before he ends up shooting Deanna or doing something like that. That said, he's correct for the most part, but it also funny, and some people have also sent me messages already of how similar he feels to Shane in season 2, when Shane is trying to tell them things about Randall, and he's trying to say, you can't let him go, you can't do this, and Rick and the others just won't listen, and he's ahead of his time, so to speak, with that. In this case, you have Rick who's actually ahead of his time, where Deanna and the others can't relate, and they don't understand that he says, he can't do this to Jesse. He can't be a person to be hitting his wife, and he's emotionally, if he's doing this, he's emotionally unstable, he's not trustworthy, and you can't really keep him as part of the group. Nicholas is somewhat similar in that capacity. So that you can't rely on him. So what use is he when you can't rely on somebody like that? If he's going to ditch you, or he's going to screw you over and let Noah be just absolutely decimated by zombies, eaten to the bone. Do you want this person to be part of your group, really? And Rick kind of sees it as, they need to be more controlling controlling of who they allow to stay in Alexandria, who they allow to be part of the group, and if there's somebody that's not cooperating or not doing anything very useful. Granted, he's a surgeon, but he's still hitting his wife, and he sees that as something, that you just can't forgive, and that they basically have to kill him. He sees it that way, or at least separate them or something. So it is definitely interesting. Plus, you have to mix into it as well, too, as a viewer. We have the understanding that he does like Jesse, and that he wouldn't do this just for anybody. If it was some old lady, similar type situation, he may talk to the guy, he may try to separate them, but he wouldn't go to this extent, right? As he has with Pete, to put himself out there and get into a brutal fight where he's bloody and Pete's all messed up and all this stuff. So extremely excited to see where this goes in the finale. What Carol does now. Is Carol just going to go and assassinate him and kill Peter? Is she going to threaten him? What's going to happen next? Are they actually going to separate him? And what will the others think of Rick's behavior with Deanna, that he actually did? I think where he did go wrong was he pulled out the gun rather than stepping away from Peter and telling her, never, don't you ever hit her again or something like that. If he did that, if he said that openly and the others heard, like Tobin and the others heard him say, you're never going to hit her again, something like, because they did see Pete backhand her, right, off of him. So he could have played the crowd like that. It's probably what Deanna or somebody like Deanna would do, who's better at the politics. He would have played the crowd, and kind of BS the crowd a little bit and made it seem like, this fight broke out because Pete's hitting his wife. And some of them may have already known that, or they may have suspected that anyway, and he's the constable. So, it could have gone that way, but I think Rick lost all respect for them and just viewed them as not being tough enough to really make it in the zombie apocalypse, not seeing what they need to become, what we become, so to speak, to survive. And it was a weird thing that Michonne went ahead and interrupted all that by, knocking him out and everything, and showing that. Again, it depends on your interpretation. Did she do it because she thought she's helping Rick, or did she do it because she really wants to create a life here and she's not subservient to him? I wouldn't think that they're both going to be sleeping in the same house anymore, though. That's for sure. So I think it does damage the Michonne-Rick relationship at this point, because they had a really strong kind of friendship going there, possibly some kind of, I at least some of us thought maybe some kind of romantic relationship or something. We got some touching and some hints of it, but nothing ever came to fruition from it. And I would say overall that I just feel like it was definitely shocking that they did it, but it definitely, for me, subtracts from Michonne's character in terms of how much I like the character, because she chose to kind of, mutiny against Rick, and she's no longer really loyal to Rick. She's more loyal to Deanna, and I just felt that was, at least that's my interpretation of it, is that she isn't. So let me know what you guys think about it. I mean, this is a heavily interesting topic, and you could go different ways with this. Like I said, you could view Michonne's intentions as being good and as her actually helping Rick to stop him from doing something, or you could just see it as she's just trying to do her job and she's loyal to Deanna and she sees them as a part of this bigger group now. But I also kind of feel like in the back of my mind I have a little bit of that kind of thought that she's kind of used Rick and the others to survive all the way to this point. Now that they have this this great community here and stuff, she'd rather suck up to Deanna and the people there that are kind of, in power, right? And it's like she's no longer loyal to Rick and the survivors. At least it seems kind of like that, right? Like she's a traitor. She used them for all this time to survive. Now she's got this and she's willing to jump ship. She's not willing to give her life anymore for the good of the survivors. She's an Alexandria citizen now, right? So, I have to say, one way or another, I'm not as big of a fan of Michonne as I was before. She's in the doghouse right now. So, at least with regards to me as a viewer, let me know what you guys think about it and how you view it, how you view her decision, whether or not you're angry at the character for doing it, and whether or not you thought it was the right choice to make, and just all around how you feel about it. I didn't really like it. It subtracts from the character for me, regardless of what her intentions were, and I feel like she's not as faithful to Rick and the others. I feel like she's a cheater. She's kind of a cheater. So, she's not a Lori level cheater, but she's I don't know. We'll probably forget all about this in a season or two. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and also with her character too. She's not a great talker. She's more of a hit first, ask questions later, or stab first with a sword, or slash ask questions later. Let me know what you guys think about it. Those are my thoughts on it. Not as much of a fan as Michonne as I was a week prior, but hey, what are you going to do? Things change, and we'll see. I mean, I'm sure she'll come back, and we'll all love her again for how badass she is pretty soon. You got to admit, it was badass, even though it was kind of a dirty shot. I still don't feel good about it. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it, favorite it, discuss it, comment in it. Let's start up a discussion. Maybe vote up some other people's comments. Let me hear where you guys lie on this one. Did you agree with her decision? Did you not? Trev says not really. Can rationalize it, but don't really like it still. Let me know what you guys think about all that. And if you're new to the channel, you want to subscribe, bottom left, go ahead and subscribe. You'll get my almost daily Walking Dead video. I'm saying almost because sometimes I miss days. Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. See you tomorrow. As always, it's Trev saying peace.